ass clowns. You guys are ass clowns.
Hey, you don't remember that shit from Space Jam? It was fire. But
that's what you're trying to do. It did not sound like that. Not gonna lie, Dario. What the fuck is on your face?
What?
my guy rocking the late 80s shades. We are covering late 80s MJ. The 88-89 season. So Jordan won his first MVP early, like before his era really began, right? He got that MVP quick, and now
Out of the way. Easy.
True. And I remember when I was a kid, first really getting into the basketball stats and like digging through Basketball Reference online, I always was convinced that this was Jordan's best statistical season, especially in the 80s. Over the 37 points per game, over the 35 with the 3 steals. I always thought the 32.5 points, 8 and 8 rebounds and assists on the money was his best season at like from this point where he's just going off. The pre-Phil Jackson era.
This is the last season before Phil Jackson.
Right. Phil Jackson's with them. He's an assistant coach at this point.
Yeah, but there's a huge difference between that, though.
Hey, Doug Collins, literally, I was watching this rare news clip from this season, and Doug Collins was like, even in that news clip in 88, not even from The Last Dance, but even way back when, Doug Collins goes, yeah, Phil's looking like he's going to be a head coach real soon.
Yeah, and he mentioned in that doc that he felt it or whatever. So
yeah, in The Last Dance he did, but it was interesting. Even in the 80s, he thought it.
What do you mean the 80s? Like when he
was a coach? This is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, but that's what he said. He was saying. I think he was more so alluding to the fact that he thought that they were trying to push him out.
I know, but it's just interesting that even in the 80s, while he's still head coach, he's saying things like that. Like throwing subliminals.
For this season. Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting. Like, it's one thing to be in The Last Dance doing that 30 years later, but
yeah,
it was interesting.
It just shows that he definitely felt that way.
For sure. But, Michael, 32, 8 and 8, like I said, 2.9 steals per game, complete savage, shooting 54% from the field. That's bonkers. Like, most guys who put up the 30 points a game aren't getting to that 50%. Like, they're not. Yeah. Like, Durant and LeBron were able to do it.
Especially the way he's doing it, too. Like, it's not...
Volume shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Straight, you're the guy. And all the plays are geared, as we learned through The Last Dance, as multiple teammates said, all the plays are geared towards how can Michael Jordan score
on the basket,
whatever.
Yeah, and like it's literally hero ball, right? But I mean, a system with it, like with a kind of system that's leaning towards it, and he's super efficient, like throughout a majority of his career too.
Yeah,
like almost all of it.
My fault. Where did the Bulls get in? So they're 6th this year.
Yeah,
47 and 35. They were 34 and 24, I think, in late March, right? I bring this up for a specific reason. In late March, or early March. And Jordan has 81 starts in this game, or in this season. He missed one game, and it was a game on the 8th versus the Celtics, where Jordan then goes into Doug Collins' office and goes, we need to get more out of my teammates. I need to get more out of my teammates. I feel like I'm out here by myself. And so Doug Collins says, fine, you're playing point guard.
Yeah.
And Michael Jordan puts up countless triple-doubles. 10 in 11 games. 10 triple-doubles in 11 games. But starting from that point to the end of the season because he would play point guard now for the rest of the season here.
Yeah.
33. Well, actually, let's get before that point, he was 33 points, 7.6 rebounds, and 7 assists with 3.1 steals, shooting 55%. So basically what he'd been doing to that point.
Yeah.
Right? Then when he takes that point guard role, the scoring's still going to stay at 30, which is crazy. So 24 games, 30 points, 10.7 assists, 9.2 rebounds, shooting 50%.
Yeah.
And that's him. That's his career at point guard in the NBA.
Yeah. Crazy though. That's pretty good.
I bring this up specifically, and I'm going to continue to do this at different points because there's a lot of things that people say about Michael Jordan and what he could and could not do in this era. And this type of shit makes me think that he really would average like 35 a game in this era, like consistently. And
for anybody to think that he averaged 30, 32, 35, 37 in that era where it was like inefficient, like it was inefficient shooting or whatever. And for him to come in an efficient era where he was super efficient in NBA history. If you look at a shooting guards should not be shooting over 50%. And he shot over 55% for a couple seasons or whatever. Yeah. So there's no way in hell that he can't do the same shit now.
I agree. Lynn, what do you think?
Oh, I think he would give everybody the dick. I mean, that's as simple as you can put it. He like, besides having this skill set, he also just had that fucking mindset, you know?
Yeah.
And a lot of people, like that, like we're seeing it with the younger kids, they have that mindset, but a lot of people today don't have that mindset to go out and, like, be like, I'm going to destroy you.
Yeah.
I wanted to look
at... That's not taken away from, like, the rest of the league either. Like, I don't think he stops great. Yeah, I think, but he's... I feel like he'll be less likely to stop people from their greatness in this era than he had in his era. But still, I think he would dominate.
And again, even though you said it's less efficient or an era of less efficiency, the pace is very comparable to right now.
I don't know if that season is. Remember, the '87 season was the only season that kind of like it stood out. I think it was like an outlier. Huh?
No, I get what you're saying, but it was still higher than where it would go in the '90s and the early 2000s for sure.
Yeah.
It's still at a higher point.
Yeah.
In case people thought, because there are people that think, oh, it's a higher pace. Maybe Jordan's not doing the same thing. Maybe he couldn't get his teammates involved. He was always like, you know what I mean? Yeah. I just think Michael Jordan could do whatever he wanted at those guard positions.
Yeah, but for him to do that I don't know if he'd be a willing passer consistently throughout his whole career. Like it's nice to see that he could do it. It's just like, to me, it works the same way where you see LeBron go for, like, had his 50-point game at Golden State. You can see that he can do it, but that's not his main thing, and that's not what he would do. I think that's just
a great comparison.
You gotta take too, huh?
That's a great comparison.
Yeah, it's just a different skills, but it's just them proving I could do this if I really put my mind to it. But this is where I'm favorite. Like, at the end of the day, these players have their own, their own uniqueness to them and what they like. Like, obviously Jordan played like that because he liked to play like that. That's how he felt like you had to win,
He's
and
got
getting
his
those
own niche in basketball, like a niche.
Yeah, exactly.
But in this, and this is the last thing I wanted to say, in this era, if your name wasn't Magic Johnson or Larry Bird, getting a triple-double was uncommon as fuck. And for Michael Jordan to basically average a triple-double for that last month was like, people were like, he's a god. He's a god. Oh my God. What a savage. He can do anything. It was definitely a lot of that. And you can see it in the awards voting, where he's the 6th place team and he still manages to get second. Magic Johnson.
Yeah. Damn, Magic Johnson, 23, 8, and 13.
With let's see if he gets over 60 wins again. No, but 57 leads.
Second. If you guys are really interested in how the hell he did that and what happened this season, you can check in our archives and we break that shit down.
Yeah, this is next year is the really, really close MVP voting. But still, Michael Jordan took first place votes despite being in sixth. Again, if this vote was taken today, I'm not positive he gets this many votes for first place. He probably still gets votes. But I don't think he gets this many first place votes. I really don't.
Yeah.
People value winning, ironically, because of Michael Jordan, so much more. And it's interesting to see that even as late as 1988-89, the Bulls are still not in the top 5 of the division or of the conference.
Yeah.
And nobody gives a fuck.
They're like probably the 10th worst team in the league.
They're closer to the bottom than they are the top. That's for sure. And that's just, it's basically, it reminds me so much of Westbrook and Oklahoma City for a more current comparison.
Yeah.
Where they just looked at Jordan, they said, here are the keys, dude. Do whatever you need, especially with Doug Collins before Phil Jackson. Defensive Player of the Year. Michael Jordan's 5th.
Yeah.
3 first place. Oh, it's just regular votes. But Mark Eaton's going to win this one. Rest in peace, Mark Eaton. This dude just passed away. He's got the record for most blocks in a season.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I can't beat that record anymore.
No, me neither.
No, but I just wanted to keep track of these because I feel like throughout his entire career, he's always in that realm of Defensive Player of the Year. I know we can track it through, all NBA first team, defensive first teams or whatever. But
Defensive Player of the Year gives you an idea of on that first team all defense, where does he rank for that year?
Exactly.
So they're putting up 17. They're one of the worst offensive teams, only putting up 106 points a game for 17. But they're top 5 in defense in terms of defensive points a game. And their offensive rating is 12th, defensive is 11th.
How'd Scottie do this year?
That's a great point. I think he's doing better. Even Scottie says he's not Scottie until Phil Jackson gets there.
Yeah.
So he's
and that makes sense because Doug Collins isn't utilizing him to his fullest extent.
Yeah.
And I think that's where Phil Jackson kind of helped out, where not only is the system, well, I guess it all works itself out because when you're creating a system for not only Michael to dominate, then he is gonna let the other players flourish and stuff. So you get to see Scottie more, and he gets to advance.
But I would say that the Bulls still fall under the Michael Jordan. If he scores less than 30, you are probably going to beat this team. I think the league generally feels that way about the Bulls. Where like if you can slow down Michael or make Michael score 30 points on 30 shots, then that's the formula, right? Pistons have already kind of explained this or kind of exposed this to an extent in the last year. But they're going to get an opportunity again as we go into the postseason.
It's still under Doug Collins. I think that's why. Yeah. But when we go into the next year, we could talk about it more.
Exactly. So when the Bulls are the 6th seed getting into the playoffs, or 7th, who did they play in the first round?
I think they
play the Cavs, so they must have been.
That's where the shot. Remember you?
Yes, they did. So they must have been the 7th seed somehow.
Huh?
Because the Cavs are the 2 seed.
Yeah,
right?
That's what they were, 7th seed.
But the Bulls are 6. So it's because of the.
Remember they have
this kind of deal because of where they ranked in their division. That mattered more at the time.
Yeah,
but they would.
Yeah, there's been a thing all the way until like 2011 or 12 or something like that.
Right. I just wanted to make sure I had it right because that always trips me up. But Bulls are going to face the Cavs, right? We saw last year that Michael Jordan completely owns the Cavs in terms of points, right?
Yep.
But we can also see through this season, as talked about in The Last Dance, Cleveland you played your people in your division 6 times. And the Cavs had beaten the Bulls all 6 times. He's got 43, 32, 28, 37. 22 in this game, but he only played 27 minutes. 25. Basically, he's still getting probably when you average those together around that 30 again.
Yep.
But everyone picked Cleveland to win the series. The paper will be on your screen. All the newspaper pundits, different people picking the Bulls to lose the series. So that was Michael Jordan's motivation. Even people in Chicago had picked the Bulls to lose this series. Sam Smith, I think Sam Smith had the Cavs in 5. So I'm pretty sure the Cavs are at home, right? Yeah, Cavs are at home. Bulls take game 1 in Cleveland, right? Michael Jordan, 31 points, 57% shooting. Scottie with 22.
Yeah.
The team's starting to look like the team we're going to know and love going forward, right? For the series, Michael Jordan said 39.8 points per game. 39.8. 5.8 rebounds, 8.2 assists, 3 steals. I thought that said 4 blocks for a second. I was like, God damn.
Yeah.
But 0.4 blocks. Still, 40% from 3, 2 for 5.
Yeah.
82% from the line. A classic prime Michael Jordan stat line, if you want my opinion. Still using those point guard moves, getting the extra assists.
Yeah. This is how you can tell, like, Michael's, I think, maturity after, because you see how he's wilding out. I mean, I guess it's also really needed right now because, it's 6 seed. But I feel like as his career goes forward, he does well, obviously, in the playoffs, but I don't think he goes as crazy in the first round. Like, it kind of becomes a thing where he paces himself, I think, towards the end of his career.
Definitely towards the end of his career. I was going to say, at this point in his career, we just watched whenever he sees.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, but it's because he has that. Right now, he's the hunter, having to hunt for.
But I think he's like this until he retires the first time. But we can talk about it as we get through.
I think it was definitely needed though, because like as we move through the playoffs with him this season, as soon as he scores less than 30 points, he loses the series.
But we're gonna get to that. Let's not jump the gun.
I know. I'm just saying, like that's why for him to just be like, okay, here we go. I'm gonna.
Yeah, for sure, it's definitely needed.
But that's the offense under Doug Collins. Is this right here? So the Michael Jordan scored 50, the Bulls scored 105. So it's 50% of the points.
Yeah,
a little bit less than that.
All right.
But yeah, I'm close. I'm getting there.
Yeah, 49.
But Cavs get game 4 at home or at Chicago rather. So now it's a huge game 5 in Cleveland, right? It's going to bring us here. So apparently legend has it that Michael Jordan sees the 3 reporters from Chicago, one who picked the Bulls to lose in 3, one who picked the Bulls to lose in 4, and one who picked the Bulls to lose in 5. And he walks over and he says, "We took care of you. We took care of you." And he looks at Sam Smith, who picked Cavs in 5, and he goes, "And today we take care of you."
Yeah.
So I've heard that story about 1 billion times. I don't know if it's true, but it definitely sounds good as shit.
If anything, that one Sam Smith was being respectful. He expected it to be a tough series. The other reporters were disrespectful, not believing in him.
But this is because I'll take it even to this point. Atlanta in 2021, Atlanta lost to the Knicks 3 times in the regular season by pretty handedly. Their best player dominated, Julius Randle, right? And what happened in the playoffs?
Yeah,
it's a different story. But I bring that up to say we picked the Knicks, right? We picked the Knicks to win that series.
So is Trae Young gonna find us?
I'm not. What do you mean?
That would be crazy if he's like, I got you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's basically what he did at the Garden.
Yeah.
But point being, similar situation here. Team beat you 6 times in the regular season.
It's crazy.
You're not picking them to win
They
the season.
played 6 games against the same team. I understand why the NBA switched that shit because it's like, bro, you played.
Well, they just didn't have as many teams. There weren't as many teams.
Yeah. But it's just like it's like, yo, I played you already in a series. Like we already know how this is gonna go, kind of thing.
Fucking. But I don't think I would have picked the Bulls to win this series either.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have. So this is a huge monumental upset at the time, right? So we're in Game 5. It's really close. It's 99-100, right?
Yeah.
Going into this last shot, 6 seconds left, right? Wow. Can't believe I got the pause on the money. Usually I'm searching around all over the place for it.
Yeah.
Fucking 6 seconds left. Oh wait. Before this, I knew it couldn't have been that easy. 3 seconds left. I was like 6 seconds seems too many.
Yeah. That's way more than 2 dribbles. But
let's watch the play for a second.
The craziest part is MJ broke this whole thing down for you. You know?
Yeah. So we can just kind of talk through it. But if we get to if we're looking at the Cleveland's play they run here, so easy layup for Elo. Pretty sure that's Elo.
That's so disgusting. That was like to think like, all right, the game's on the line, we up and everything. It's like, oh yeah, just get your easy lane to the basket. I'd be so pissed if I was Jordan. Like, what the fuck is wrong with this team?
One more time. Because I agree with you. And then that same guy who makes the layup is put onto Jordan, right? Yeah. So funniest part is Ron Harper in The Last Dance is on camera talking about this, and Michael Jordan said that Ron Harper was the best person to guard MJ on this last play, right? Michael said he gave.
Yeah, he did the best job on him. Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently in the huddle here, they said, and I love the way Ron Harper tells his story. They said, we're going to put Elo on MJ. And Ron Harper just goes, and I said, all right, man, whatever. Fuck this bullshit. It was fucking hilarious. Holy shit, it was funny. And I was like, do you think he thought that in the moment and was like, fuck this game? I don't think he thought that. But it's weird. It's weird what 30 years of hindsight can do to something. Yeah. So Michael breaks open, right? I always growing up, I always thought this was a 3-pointer. Like, I never saw it from this angle. I always saw it from the angle we'll watch it at after this point.
Yeah.
I always thought this was a freaking 3-pointer.
Yo, you know how, like, he let it go, like, right on the spot or something. Like, right on the dime, because it's so close. Look, he's still, like, going up for his shot at 1 second. Look,
he's the king of the double clutch.
Yeah.
His whole gimmick, especially at this point, as we talked about in previous episodes, but his gimmick was always get you up, but I'm in the air longer than you, double clutch, and then make the shot. He loved to fake people out, and this was all that kind of shit, right? Trying to hang there for as long as Elo, or longer than Elo can. There's Doug Collins. Mad hype.
Like, let's fucking go.
He's probably how did we do this? I didn't coach them to this.
Like, let him breathe, bro. He just hit the shot.
James Brown is a legend. James Brown said, we got to get MJ immediately. If this was football, immediately.
Yeah. And, yo, bro, social distance. So scary to look at this right now.
This is the 80s.
No, I know.
Yeah, but he's, like, right in his face, though. He's, like, about to, like, breathe in his air.
Like, really, he's trying to smell his jockstrap. I don't care if this is Jim Brown. We gotta be honest.
He's like, can I lick the sweat off of your baldness?
Oh my! I feel like lots of people do that, are into that. You know, licking bald sweat. I'm into it too.
What?
But
No.
Let's move on.
Yeah. Okay, so Michael Jordan, the shot. Next series, round 2. What's happening?
Hold on. This becomes the first shot he'd have in his career. He'd have a couple more. But he, this would like, I don't know. Do you think this brought him to a different level of superstar, or do you think he was already there before this?
I think he was already there. He's literally had 2 straight postseasons where he's averaged 40 in a series.
True.
So at this point, it's like, all right, this guy's.
But he's also, I'm sure if you were watching this, I'm sure if you were watching this in real time in the 80s, though, you would probably be like, yeah, but is he going to get past the Pistons? Who the fuck knows?
Yeah, but like last season, he had the MVP and the Defensive Player of the Year award. He led the league in steals and scoring. Like, I just feel like that would have been the season where he was like, hello, I'm here.
So
the playoffs is what counts.
Where I equate him at this point, he's like in that. I'm not saying he's the same kind of player or equal in ranking, because I think right now he's the top 2 player in the league. But like he's in Dame's spot where you have a decent team, and you might be able to make some noise in the playoffs, but we don't expect you to win it. And until next year, when he gets a better coach and he gets a second star, that kind of pushes him to, okay, now you're an actual contender. Right now, he's not a contender.
Yeah. Well, his team's not. That's where I don't think. I don't think his team's up to par yet. Yeah. And I don't think people believe in him. I don't think people believe in Doug Collins. I don't think people believe in anybody besides. Yeah, MJ's probably looked at like a little bit more up the, but similar to how Melo was looked at, where it's like, yeah, it's cute that you score all these buckets, but can you win a championship? That's got to be it at this point, right? Especially after this, they're like, okay, he upsets Cleveland. Now, let's see if you can really make some noise in the playoffs. I just think it's people going, okay.
Yeah, just to, I don't think he's looked at up to that point yet until the after next season is kind of where I think all the pressure starts to get on him. Because think about it, this is what, his 4th, 5th season?
Yeah.
Like he's still developing. He has a team that is barely a playoff team. Like it's not.
But I don't think people were looking at him as he was still developing. I think that's something we're putting into it in hindsight, and something that's how we'd look at a guy like Luka Doncic, for example, now. But I think in the moment, people were like, this guy's putting up 40 points a game. What a savage. He is the best player I've ever seen. Like, there's definitely people like that already that are just like in Jordan mania.
Yeah, for sure. There are. But I just don't think anyone expected them to win a championship.
Maybe not this season. Maybe not this
season. Yeah, next season as the season goes on, I think it's more looked at for sure.
Next up is the Knicks. Michael Jordan versus Patrick Ewing.
Yeah,
something that we'll see in the 90s way more.
Mm-hmm.
But Michael Jordan, down series for him, 35 a game, shooting 55%. There we go. He got to 2.5 steals and 1.3 blocks.
Yeah.
What a beast.
Yeah.
Does Starks play for the Knicks at this point?
I'll tell you, I don't think so. Really, this playoffs is just putting him on the map. If that's the case, that's how it is.
Oh, he was. Remember, we already did an on the map moment that you could find in our archives.
Very true.
And we talk about this. He was already looked at as like a god.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say heading into this series. But like, I wonder how people put him in Magic. Like in terms of like, I'm sure there were people who were like, maybe Magic a few years ago is better than Jordan, even though he's getting.
Yeah, to me, this is the Kobe LeBron thing, where Kobe's towards the end. All the Kobe heads are still on him, and then you got this new guy like LeBron. It's funny how their careers kind of. even line up similarly and time frames and stuff.
What did Ewing average? It said 21 and
21,
11.
10 and 4, I think.
Yeah, 21. Let's see. Because these guys are just. I'm kind of glossing over this series because we're going to see a lot of Knicks versus Bulls going forward. But yeah, Patrick Ewing, 21, 10, 1.8 blocks, 1.3 steals.
And what seed were they?
They are
the second, right?
Yes, they're the 2 seed.
So
the
this
Bulls just upset 2 teams.
Yeah, exactly. They just upset the third seed and the second seed. That's insane.
That is insane.
Like, what team?
If that happened now, that would be the equivalent of Luka beating what you want to see happen and
what is gonna happen. Yeah,
people watch this 5 years from now. They're going to be like, Luka's already got 3 MVPs and a couple of chips. Like, I don't know what they're even talking about.
Yeah.
You guys are like high on this man.
Hey, it's okay to be high. But
what? No, let's not put that out there.
On that note, we have the Bulls.
The beginning of a rivalry.
The Detroit Pistons. No, the beginning of the rivalry was the year before. I forgot. The extension of the rivalry. Everyone considers this to be the beginning, though, for whatever reason.
Well, it's because Jordan didn't look the greatest in the year before, where he just got swept. So
yeah, but this is also a conference finals too. Last season, it was in the second round. Like, it's a bigger stage, bigger moment.
Yep, talking. That's true.
So, wow, Michael. So they really shut down the Bulls here. Michael, who's been putting up over 50% all season, past 2 series, is now shooting 46%.
He was averaging 37 between the 2 series before.
Yeah. And now he's down to under 30, right? And Craig Hodges is your second scorer. Pippen was completely emasculated by Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
Horace Grant, basically a double-double, but again, Pistons believe that Horace Grant stands no chance to beat them by himself.
Yeah.
Right? And I want to see how the Pistons did. So Isaiah, because a couple of these came down to, they were close. So 86-80, 97-99. This was Jordan hitting a game winner. He had 46 here. That's game 3. That's a huge game. It just seemed like, I think I have those highlights up, actually.
Most of the games were within 9, it looked like.
But this game in particular, Jordan finally gets off a little bit, and this is how he gets that average to bump up. Because he has 46 in this game, and it just feels like the Pistons are late to the double every time. But it feels like if they get to Jordan before Jordan gets his shot off, then he's usually going to get grounded. You know what I mean? But they're still following the Jordan rules, right? They're forcing him away from the baseline. They're trying to keep him in the middle of the paint. But you can see the next help guy is just a step. Because even Dumars just let him right through, thinking the help was going to be there. And so I just think that's interesting. But for the most part, it still holds true that without that full team offensive structure, where it's not so Jordan-centric, and that's why you can see Chuck Daly getting pissed, because you could tell he's like, they're not following the right, especially in this game. But
I thought when they talked about the Jordan rules, wasn't it after this game?
No, it was before this point. They had the Jordan rules in the previous year.
Okay. I can't remember off the top of my head.
No, they did for sure, because they talked. It was
in the Last Dance. I can't. I'm trying to. Might be mixing up my seasons,
because they were physical with him, and then I think they brought up the Jordan, because in the next game, Pistons are going to win 86-80, right? Mm-hmm. And Jordan, that means Jordan, there's no way he could have had. So here you go, 23 points, 5 of 15 free throw line 17 free throws, which means he was getting hacked.
Yeah.
Absolutely hacked.
And at this point, like, would you because I feel like the most valuable player thing, like, because you gotta think about it, Magic would be just won an MVP, and then you're seeing this happen to Jordan, where he just brought a team that shouldn't even be there to the NBA, the Eastern Conference. I'm just trying to put
Yeah.
myself in a fan's shoes at this point. And you watching this guy, and you're like, wow, he's literally like going toe to toe with the best team in the East and the toughest team in the league. And literally, if he can't score his 30 points, they don't stand a chance.
Yep.
So to me, as a fan, I look at that and be like, yo, how could you say this guy is not more valuable than this guy?
Yeah.
That's why I feel like that's why I feel like almost the LeBron Giannis thing happens, because, well, not Giannis thing, sorry. The whole that's been a LeBron thing for all his career, where he's the best player, and then it's shown in the playoffs and stuff. Like Jordan's really, if you look at this, Jordan might have started, been part of this in his career too. So I'm just thinking, like, at this point, like, I'd be looking at Michael Jordan as, wow, this guy's freaking amazing, and he is the best player in the league right now.
I definitely think there are people who think that he's the best player in the league, and I definitely think there are people who are just like old heads, quote unquote, who are like, nah, it's still Magic. Mm-hmm. Look at how Magic passes. Look at how he's, how crazy 23-12 is. 23-12 is better than 35 any day. Like, right. There are definitely people who are on both sides of the coin, but this is just a compilation of some of the hard fouls and fighting from the series. So the Bulls were perceived as a lot like, even though it's interesting to note that, again, being the 6th seed, they, like you said, weren't supposed to be there, but it reminds me of the Clippers during the Lob City era, a team that can't get out of their own way in terms of like physicality and being able to handle it mentally. Like, because as we're going to see going a little bit forward, this is the thing they're going to have to overcome, as well as gaining a more structured offense. But it's the more structured offense and you can't let them see you sweat.
Yeah.
And that's all they did in this series, was just let this all get to them.
Yeah.
And that's all the Pistons wanted. They were the bad boys. This is like, that's what they're trying to do.
You could see why they wanted the coaching change, because that's a coaching issue.
Yeah.
Because you got to get you ready. You got to get your team ready. You got to have them. So you could see why they would. I think it was smart of the organization to look at it and as what it was. Is like, all right, Jordan just had a crazy run. He him bringing us to the Eastern Conference Finals was awesome, but can he do this again on his own? Like, it's way harder, especially as you age. So it was smart for them to look at it and say, okay, this guy's not the coach, because I really do think that Jordan would have probably won maybe one championship at all, if anything, if he would have, if this dude would have stood the coach.
The most interesting part is, if you ask the players, I think the players wanted to keep Doug Collins. I think the players liked playing for him, especially Jordan.
Yeah, for sure.
Can I say the same thing for Scottie Pippen? I don't know. I feel like other guys were probably encouraging of the triangle and that equal opportunity offense.
Yeah.
But
do you think it was also because, like, a lot of what happens is when you have a coach switch, you also have a lot of players moving, and so maybe some of the players didn't want the coach switch because they were worried about being pushed out of Chicago, like Horace Grant.
Say that again.
Like, you're gonna notice after, like, next season and after this season, the next 2 seasons, they're gonna be roster changes for the Bulls, and they're gonna be significant.
Yeah, they're gonna keep Horace Grant though.
No, I know, but he's gonna get a shift in his what's happening with him and the way that he plays.
That's true. Okay, now I get what
I feel like that's happening to the whole team, though, because of the way, literally, the whole offense and defense changes completely because of Phil Jackson.
I agree.
Yeah, so I think that plays a huge role into, guys' plays and stuff. Everyone's play is gonna elevate because of Phil Jackson, because he's getting them more involved and he's having them touch the ball every possession, versus now where it's like Jordan play iso ball and let's hope for the best.
So the Bulls are going to lose in 6. This is the last thing I wanted to look up, and then we're going to move on. Scottie Pippen played 1 minute in the elimination game. I want to know what happened. I don't know whether he got hurt or...
Yeah, because they didn't really talk about this series as much.
No, they'll talk about next year. And it almost tripped me out because I thought it was next year with the migraine game, which we'll get to.
Yeah, because really they made it seem like they only faced the Pistons 3 times when they faced them 4 times.
Yes.
And they really only made it a big deal for 2 of them, because it's the one that they lost and they learned something from it, and then when they beat the shit out of them, that's when they really talked about the series more. But that was because it was coming from Jordan's sociopathic mind.
Yeah, we're also getting into that portion of his where we start to talk really about that.
Yeah.
So, okay, I found some Chicago Tribune article written by Sam Smith at the time.
Yeah.
Oh, this is what happened to Scottie Pippen. I knew it was something like this. Despite the loss of Scottie Pippen, who was knocked out by a Bill Laimbeer elbow in the first minute of the game, the Bulls made a valiant effort. So the Pistons are just, and I look forward to doing an Isaiah Thomas legacy breakdown where we get to talk about the Pistons a little more. But the Pistons are just looking for reasons to find people to not like them. You know what I mean? Like they're just getting people, the ultimate heels. If I can find that elbow, I'll put it on the screen.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds insane. But the Pistons are going to go on to win the NBA Finals. And this is another situation where this is the year Magic gets hurt, or is that the next year? I think that's
this is the year. Yep, I think Magic gets hurt this year.
This year? I'm going to double check. So Pistons over Lakers. They swept them. This has got to be the year Magic was fucking dead.
That was the only time.
Let's double check.
Finals.
I have a reason. I'm bringing this up for a purpose. Magic Johnson played 3 games. This is the year he got that hamstring injury and they got swept.
Yeah.
Right? So here's why I bring this up. 11 points per game for Magic Johnson. Not the guy, right?
Yeah.
Could Michael Jordan have beaten this Lakers team? No magic.
Magic played
average 40 to get to the finals. To get to the Eastern Conference Finals, Jordan would average 40. Magic's going to get hurt in this NBA Finals, and it's a sweep for the Detroit Pistons, right? If they get through the Pistons, could Jordan have won this Finals?
You could argue, because I could see it going along probably 6 or 7. Because you got to think about it, that Laker team was a 67-win team, right? Or 57 win team.
Yeah.
It's not a bad team at all.
But with an injured, it's more the Magic thing. Healthy Magic, I don't think so.
Yeah. He gets injured in the very beginning of the series?
He plays 3 games.
Yeah, I know, but he only averaged 12.
But I think he gets, I'll tell you in a second. I think he tried to play through something.
Jordan might have been able to slip a title in right there if he would have went to the.
I'm gonna ask this again after next season also. But yeah, Magic 41 minutes, 17 points, 14 assists. Even though they lost this game, the Pistons are just doing the defense.
Yeah. Yep.
But what do you guys think? Do you think that is realistic?
I think they had a puncher's chance, and especially if Magic's is out, you could see them have Jordan with small blood, and we've seen him all throughout his finals careers. He's always had crazy series, so I think he was small blood. But
I'll tell you this: if they did win the championship this year, would have been terrible for Jordan's career.
Yeah.
Because they would have kept Doug Collins, for sure. Never would have hired Phil.
Yep.
Or couldn't have hired Phil because Krause wanted to hire Phil.
No. Phil was assistant head coach, so he was he was there, but he wouldn't have been able to elevate Phil to head coach. Yeah.
I mean, he could.
They were literally.
We've seen guys get fired after doing things, but I don't think they would have.
Yeah, there's no way. Don't. But I forgot to mention it during. I don't know why, but Phil Jackson was actually getting alienated. Throughout the series.
Tex Winter too. Tex Winter.
Huh?
Tex Winter more specifically was getting alienated more than Phil.
Yep.
Godfather of the triangle offense.
Yeah. Sorry, Tex Winter was getting alienated. So because Doug Collins didn't want to take on the like theory of the triangle offense, so pretty much Phil Jackson was learning it directly with Tex Winter.
Yeah.
And that kind of is what bred into the whole Phil Jackson becoming the new coach and shit like that.
And that is how we are going to head into the next season.